Okay, well, over the past, 3 or 4 weeks, Pastor Tony has been talking about the hurdles that we face as we go through life. And I've watched several people hold on to their faith as they overcame some major hurdles. So instead of teaching this morning, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share what 2 ladies had to say as their lives came to a close. Okay? You bow your heads with me for a minute. Father God, I pray that those hearing the message that these ladies have left for us are going to see the wisdom and the truth that's in it. And I pray that it will be a wake-up call for anyone who's hearing it and whose faith has been faltering. And Father God, I do lift this up to you in Jesus' name. Amen. You know, some of you knew Wilma Connor. In fact, I believe everybody in here knew Wilma Connor, didn't you? Everybody in here knew Wilma Connor. She recently moved on to the next life. All right? And Wilma truly looked forward to being with God. She was excited about it. She was ready. She wanted to go. And was she ever excited about seeing Jesus? I hope we all are. I hope we all look forward to seeing Jesus with the same excitement that Wilma had. You know, it just wasn't quite the same for a young lady in Australia. Holly Butcher, she was only 27 years old when she passed on. She suffered from a rare form of bone cancer. That's Holly up here. That's Wilma and Holly up here now. Holly was happy with her life. But unlike Wilma, she was not ready to leave. All right? And before she died, she wrote a letter to her family and her friends with some advice about life. And guess what? Fox News heard about it. And Fox News used it in a report. And that's where I got the quotes that I'm going to share with you this morning. Okay? About life, Holly said, it's fragile, it's precious, it's unpredictable, and each day is a gift. It's not a given right. Is that ever true? She said, I'm 27 now. I don't want to go. I love my life. I'm happy. But control is out of my hands. Now, Holly was right when she wrote that each day is a gift, not a right. And isn't it sad, though, that there are people waking up this morning with their coffee, with the TV, or with their newspaper, tucking God away in their Bible, somewhere on a shelf or in a bookcase, instead of being here in church. Not even thinking about how blessed they are to have another day to share with their family and their friends. We need to pray for those folks, folks. We do need to pray for those folks. And as Holly said, life is fragile. Today could be the very last chance that each and every one of us have to spend with someone that's important in our life.
Amen.
Don't pass it up. Holly's warning here is live today like the gift that it is. Then she also said something that I got a little issue with. She said that control was out of her hands. And it may have been out of Holly's hands, but it's not out of our hands, is it? We've seen God work miracles right here in our congregation. Just take a look at that PTL list. We didn't go through it this morning, but that PTL list is this long. Sometimes I believe He even anticipates our prayer and our needs and answers them before we even ask for it. And some of those, praise the Lord's on that list, they're for a life-saving deliverance. For someone who was actually facing the end of their life. And he saved their life. So, don't we have all the control we need? All we have to do is look to God for His help. You We all know that things like alcohol, drugs, smoking, they're bad for us, and they can shorten our life. But quite frankly, we have the control to decide whether or not we use any of them, don't we? So we have control. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Holly didn't have control. She felt like she lost control. We do have control. Then there are those things that we just accept as facts of life. Getting too little sleep. I bet everybody in here has got too little sleep from time to time. Stress. Sometimes we accept stress as just a fact of life. We can't get away from it, you know. Poor diets. I haven't got time to fix a meal today. Poor diets. These things we a lot of times call facts of life. That's just to name a few of them, I guess. But you know what? They're only facts of life if we allow them to be, right? We have control. We don't have to let these negative things be facts of life in our life. Okay, all we have to do is exercise that control. The next quote that Holly gave us was, those times when you're whining about ridiculous things, something that I've noticed so much these past few months, just think about someone who's really facing a problem. And I'm sure Holly had herself in mind when she wrote those words, but she also had other people in mind. We need to look around. And there does seem to be a tendency today to make mountains out of molehills. We tend to make crises out of inconveniences sometimes. When in hindsight, if we look back, it really wasn't that important. She said we should stop worrying about those little things. Let all the stuff go. Let all that stuff go. I swear, you will not be thinking those things when it's your turn to go. I bet we're not either. She said it's all so insignificant, and catch this, it's all so insignificant when you look at life as a whole. If we could take these little things that we get irritated about, and if we could take those and kind of put those in that perspective that she's talking about, in the perspective of life as a whole, wouldn't it make a big difference in how we looked at them? Would it make a big difference in whether we got irritated when we shouldn't? We do get stirred up about things a lot of times, and we get irritated. And a lot of times, just like I was saying, if you look at this in the perspective of your whole life, of the world, they don't mean anything. They're small. They're something that we probably won't even remember, several months down the road, if we remember them at all. They do have the little things. They do have a way of irritating us, getting under our skin, you know. And that's what Holly's telling us to fight. She's telling us to keep those things in perspective. For example, recently, we come back from Indianapolis, in fact, in heavy traffic. I was needing to change lanes, and nobody let me in. You know, I had my blinker on, nobody let me in. I got irritated. It's a little thing. It's just a little thing, you know. And we've all been held up in traffic by somebody that is sitting there on their cell phone. Green light turns to green, everybody goes on, and here we sit. We've been irritated. It's a little thing. You know, we're going to get what we had when we took off to go. You know, we're going to get where we were headed. And one thing that you can count on, though, if that happens to you, Satan's going to jump in there. He's going to try to get you irritated. He's going to try to get you to do or say something in anger, something that you're going to regret you said later, honestly. You know, probably be convicted about even, you know. But he's going to try to get you to do that because it gives him another measure of control, and it takes it away from you. And you can count on him. He's going to be there. He's going to try to get you irritated. Now, Holly's not saying here, no, I'm not either, that the difficulties and trials and all that we face as we go through life, these big hurdles, she's not saying they're insignificant, just to disregard them. She's just saying that keep things in perspective, okay? Don't let the little things irritate you. Keep your life on scale. Keep your life where it belongs, okay? Just don't let small things become mountains and disrupt your life. A lot of us do that. I mean, we just get caught up and that hustle bustle, and little things just. All right. She also followed this with seriously. Do what makes your heart feel happy. Eat the cake. Zero guilt. I hear her saying, hey, live with joy and purpose. And isn't that exactly what Jesus told us? Isn't that exactly what he said? He wants us to live a happy, contented life, doesn't he? He doesn't want us to run around scared and living in fear or feeling guilty. That's not what Jesus had in mind for us. Remember what he said? I have come that they may have life and that more abundantly. Beyond meeting our material needs. I believe that Jesus wants for us things like love, joy, contentment, all the things that make a happy life for us. That's what he meant for us. Well, I've got a lot more here on that, but I'm going to let that go, okay? In the next quote, Holly said, also remember that if something is making you miserable, you do have the power to change it. In work or love or whatever it may be, have the guts to change. You don't know how much time that you've got left on this earth. So don't waste it being miserable. Don't waste it being unhappy. If we look at 1 John, he tells us that we're overcomers. Why is that? Why are we overcomers? Because he that is in us is greater than he that is in the world, right? We are greater than anything in the world that we face, any hurdle that we come up against. All we have to do is loose the power of God that's in us already, and we can overcome anything, no matter how big it is, no matter how small it is. He's concerned about small things just as much as he is about the big things. And again, Pastor Tony's been talking about the hurdles we face in life. And something that makes you miserable or unhappy is a hurdle. Okay? He's pointed out that you can't go around hurdles. You can't skip a hurdle. There's no way to do that. Hurdles stretch from horizon to horizon. If you trip over one, or if you try to go around it, it's going to just pop right up back in front of you again. The only way that you can put a hurdle behind you is to deal with it, okay? To overcome it. And how do you do that? You overcome it with what's in you, all right? God's already in you, so you can overcome any hurdle. And in essence, Holly's saying the same thing, isn't she? She's saying, deal with the obstacles that interfere with your happiness. She said, you do have the power, so have the courage. Have the courage to step up and handle those hurdles. I'm sorry. Don't waste your life being unhappy. Don't run around here being so busy and being miserable. Don't do that. She's right again. We do have the power to change the things in our life that are harmful, that make us unhappy. Misery is certainly unhappiness, and misery certainly is a hurdle. I bet there's people in here this morning, even the few that are here this morning. I bet there's people in here this morning that have dealt with some extended misery, and you know that misery will actually take a physical toll on you if you allow it to persist. So deal with it. Deal with what's in you. Have the courage. Okay. Then she goes on to say that it's more blessed to give than to receive. I believe we all know that. I believe we've all felt that. That feeling of giving is greater than that feeling of receiving. You'd rather give than that. And she said that you gain more happiness doing things for others than doing them for yourself. And I believe that's true too. And I believe most everyone in here has experienced that also. That you got more joy and more happiness out of doing something for somebody else than you did for doing something for yourself. And she said that material things and gifts, and this is important, material things and gifts do not create love or true connections. The best things in life are free. And I'm quoting her here. She talks about colorful sunrises and birds singing and several examples like that. But she also said one other thing that I felt was really revealing. She said that a few years back, her family had decided to quit giving gifts at Christmas time. What they were going to do was just give cards to each other, exchange cards. And she said those cards with the comforting words and the wishes were so much greater to her, meant so much more to her than any pretty little wrapped package could have meant. And again, she says material things and gifts don't create love, and they don't create true connections. Okay? And in her letter, she points out that life can be short. And what really matters are love, friends, and family. She says this over and over, that we should not let life slip past us. And if you take a look at James chapter 4, verse 14, he points out that we don't know what tomorrow's going to be, and life can be pretty brief. Whereas ye know not what shall be on the morrow, for what is life? It is even a vapor that appeareth for a little time, and then vanisheth away. We'll talk about that a little bit more after a while, in a minute. You know, an overly busy or a hectic life can cause you to miss opportunities to spend time with those that are important to you, those that you love. Take advantage of today and do the things that make you happy, like she says. And if there's something you can't control, something you don't feel like you have control over, even though you do, just give it to God. He can take care of it, and He will take care of it if you let Him. Okay. I'm going to share one more quote. The last quote is, a year that I will be forever grateful that I got to spend here on earth with my family, friends, and dog. A year I had some of the greatest times of my life till we meet again. Well, if you notice, Holly didn't really talk about God in the quotes that Fox used in that news report. But that last till we meet again speaks volumes about her faith. Although she doesn't want to leave this life, she obviously feels very comfortable and secure that she's going to see her friends and loved ones again. And if we look back at these ladies, Wilma and Holly, Wilma didn't just talk her faith, she lived it. She shared her faith with her smile, her words, and her love. And I think everybody in here probably has experienced that. I hope everybody experienced it. I did. Okay. And she left us with a life lesson. That lesson is that faith in God's promises and the work that Jesus did on the cross is the key to everything. To a happy life, and eventually to a wonderful life with Him, an eternity with Him. And then Holly reminds us that life is fragile, it's unpredictable, and that it's a gift, not a right. She repeatedly told us that we should live each day to its fullest. You know, when we came into this world as a child, it was a beginning. It was a beginning of a life that's going to be filled with love. You know, it's going to be filled with happiness. It's going to be filled with love, joy. But it's also going to have its times of pain and sadness. You know, this week, during our prayer time on Wednesday night, we talked about how desperate some of our youth are, how Satan is prying them away from the life that Christ wants for them, the life that Jesus went to the cross and died for. And Holly, that's what Holly is saying, don't let that happen. Don't let that happen. with faith like Wilma's, and I'm talking about true faith, faith from your heart, faith, those times of sadness can become very difficult. Without that faith, I said, those times of sadness can become very difficult, even overwhelming. So we can see where some of these young people who have not had an opportunity to come to know God, we can see where they might have such difficulty as to even, as you said, even suicide. I can't fathom that. I can't fathom what it takes to feel so lost and so empty that you would actually want to take your own life. It's beyond me. And again, I can see that if you don't have faith like Romans. There are passing, regardless of what age it is. It's a second beginning. It's either one of an eternity with God, an eternity of joy and happiness beyond anything we can imagine. Or it can be an eternity of misery, extreme misery that we can't fathom with the devil. An eternity, not a week, a month, a year, an eternity of misery. And it's a fact. We're all going to leave this life at some point. And like Holly said, I'm sure none of us are going to spend our last moments worrying about that guy that wouldn't let me in traffic, those little things that irritate us. None of us are going to worry about those. We're going to be thinking about those we love on our last moments. And it could come at any time, It could come at any age. One of us in her 80s. Holly was 27. And we had a lady that Kay Winter and I know lost her son this last week. He was 19. I lost a friend that I'd known for 50 years, worked with him. He and I were in business together for a while. A really good friend. I lost him. It can happen anytime. It can come at any time. So you don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till tomorrow to put things in perspective, to keep things in perspective your whole life. Put them in perspective today. Live today. We're all overcomers. Why? That's right. We're all overcomers because he that is in us is greater than he that is in the world. We have the power. We do need to live each day just like the gift that Holly says that it is, and the gift that it is. Have a blessed week. Have a blessed week. We'll see you Wednesday at 6:30 for prayer if you can make it. If not, then we'll see you next Sunday. Bring somebody in with you, okay? Bring somebody in with you. Be safe. And Pastor and Cheryl will be back.